Commander Vrax of the Galactic Federation's 7th Conquest Fleet gazed through the viewport of his dreadnought, the inevitable victory. His 4 eyes blinked in sequence as he observed the small blue planet that hung suspended in the darkness before him. Earth, the homeworld of those peculiar bipeds called humans. Status report, Vrax demanded, his mandibles clicking with impatience. Lieutenant Nix, a slender Phrygian with glossy exoskeleton plates that caught the light of nearby stars, approached with a datapad. Sir, our fleet has achieved optimal positioning. All 27 warships are in formation. Stealth systems are operating at peak efficiency. The humans remain unaware of our presence. Excellent. Vrax's upper lip curled in what passed for a smile among his species. And the status of their defensive systems? Primitive, Commander. Their orbital stations are equipped with rudimentary weapons systems. Nothing that could threaten our vessels. Their planetary defense grid consists of ground-to-space missiles with limited range and power. Vrax nodded, satisfaction spreading through his 4-chambered heart. The Supreme Council had been debating the human problem for decades. These creatures had been left alone for too long. 3,000 years of relative peace had made the Galactic Federation complacent. But Vrax and his supporters had finally convinced the Council that humans needed to be put in their place. Their technological advancement has been concerning, Vrax said, more to himself than to Nix. They have gone from primitive combustion engines to rudimentary, faster-than-light travel in less than 3 centuries. If left unchecked, they could become a threat, Nix finished the thought. Though many on the Council still consider that unlikely. Vrax snorted. The Council is blinded by their own superiority complex. They see humans as amusing pets. I see potential rivals. He turned away from the viewport. Prepare the first wave of intimidation protocols. Let's remind these humans of their proper place in the galactic hierarchy. Yes, Commander. Nix bowed slightly before retreating to relay the orders. Vrax settled into his command chair, feeling the weight of history on his shoulders. This mission would cement his legacy. The species that brought humanity to heel after their brief and unremarkable rise. Admiral Blackburn of the United Earth Defense Force stood in the command center of Luna Base Alpha, hands clasped behind her back as she studied the holographic display. Coffee mug in hand, she took a long sip as the proximity alerts began blaring. What have we got? She asked, not bothering to look up from her coffee. Monday mornings were always the worst, even in space. Lieutenant Jackson tapped rapidly on his console. Ma'am, we're detecting multiple objects decelerating at the edge of our sensor range. 27 distinct signatures. Massive energy readings. Unknown configuration. First contact? She mused, taking another sip. Or has someone finally decided to crash our party? Energy signatures don't match any known human vessels. Captain Rodriguez confirmed from her station. And they're not broadcasting any recognition codes. Blackburn nodded, strainedicom. Inform Earth Command. Bring defense systems to full alert. And someone give me a fresh coffee. If we're going to meet the neighbors, I want to be properly caffeinated. The command center buzzed with activity, but there was a curious lack of panic. Training kicked in, certainly, but there was something else. A peculiar confidence that bordered on amusement that Blackburn's communicator chimed. Admiral, you're going to want to see this, Rodriguez said. They are broadcasting something. The main screen flickered to life, revealing a creature with 4 eyes, chitinous gray-green skin, and mandibles that clicked as it spoke. The universal translator took a moment to process before the alien's words became clear. People of Earth, the creature began, its voice rendered in a deep, ominous tone by the translator. I am Commander Vrax of the Galactic Federation's 7th Conquest Fleet. For too long, your species has been allowed to develop unchecked. Your rapid technological advancement and aggressive expansion into space has been noted with concern by the Supreme Council. Today, we establish new boundaries. The alien continued, listing demands and restrictions that would effectively end humanity's space exploration program and limit their technological development. As the message played out, Blackburn's expression remained unchanged, save for a slight quirk of her eyebrow. When the transmission ended, the command center was silent for approximately 3 seconds. Then Admiral Blackburn laughed. Not a nervous chuckle, but a full-throated laugh that echoed off the metal walls of the command center. Mom. Rodriguez ventured cautiously. Blackburn wiped a tear from her eye. I am sorry. It's just, they're so serious. She took a breath to compose herself. All right, people, let's respond to our new friends. Back on the inevitable Victory, Vrax waited impatiently for the humans' response. Their primitive communications technology would require several minutes to process his message and formulate a reply. Commander, Nix approached again, confusion evident in the set of his antennae. We are receiving a transmission from Earth. That was fast, Vrax noted. Put on the main screen. The viewport shifted to display a human female with dark skin and short silver hair, wearing a blue uniform adorned with various insignia that Vrax assumed denoted rank. Hello, Commander Vrax, the human said, her tone surprisingly casual. I'm Admiral Tessa Blackburn of the United Earth Defense Force. We have received your interesting message. Vrax straightened, pleased that the humans understood the gravity of the situation. Then you will comply with our demands? The human's face did something unexpected. Her lips curled upward in what Vrax recognized as a smile, but there was no submission in the expression. If anything, it appeared amused. Yeah, about that, Blackburn said, taking a sip from a container in her hand. We're going to have to decline your generous offer of galactic subjugation, but we appreciate the heads up about the whole Galactic Federation thing. Saves us some exploration time. Vrax's four eyes blinked rapidly in confusion. Perhaps I wasn't clear, Admiral. This is not a negotiation. We have 27 warships positioned to strike your major population centers. Your species will be subjugated or eliminated. Blackburn nodded thoughtfully. 27 ships. Impressive. Tell me, Commander, have you ever heard of Project Thunderbolt? Before Vrax could respond, his tactical officer shouted from across the bridge. Commander, we are detecting energy spikes from Earth's moon. Multiple signatures. They are targeting our fleet. Impossible, Vrax said. Their technology is primitive. They have no weapons that could. His words were cut short as the bridge rocked violently. Warning klaxons blared throughout the ship. Direct hit to vessels 7 and 13. The tactical officer reported, panic evident in his voice. Shields down to 40% in a single strike. Unknown energy signature. It's like nothing we have encountered before. On the view screen, Admiral Blackburn's smile widened. You see, Commander, humanity has a long and storied history of being underestimated. We also have a particular talent for three things. Innovation when backed into a corner, keeping secrets from potential threats, and making really, really big guns. Another series of impacts rocked the fleet. On his tactical display, Vrax watched in horror as 3 of his warships winked out of existence. What is this weapon? He demanded. Something we have been working on for a while. Blackburn replied casually. Quantum destabilization artillery. Basically, it unravels the atomic bonds holding your ships together. Neat, huh? We figured if we ever met hostile aliens, they might have shields designed to disperse energy or deflect physical projectiles. So we went with option C. Just make the target stop being matter. Our scientists had a ball with that one. Vrax felt cold dread washing over him. This was impossible. The intelligence reports had been clear. Humans were centuries away from this level of technology. Commander, Nix called out. 9 ships destroyed. 4 more heavily damaged. The fleet is in disarray. Blackburn leaned forward on the screen. Now, Commander Vrax, I'd like to propose a counteroffer. You turn your remaining ships around, go back to your Galactic Federation, and explain that Earth is not to be trifled with. In return, we won't follow you home and introduce ourselves to your Supreme Council in person. How does that sound? Vrax's mandibles clicked rapidly in distress. This is not possible. You're bluffing. Your species cannot have advanced so quickly. Oh, but we did, Blackburn said, her voice taking on an edge of steel beneath the casual tone. You see, we have known about your Galactic Federation for quite some time. Did you really think we wouldn't detect your probes and observation posts? We have been watching you watching us, Commander, and preparing accordingly. Another blast rocked the ship. The lights on the bridge flickered. Hull breach on decks 7 through 9, an officer reported. Emergency force fields holding, but structural integrity is compromised. Vrax gripped the arms of his command chair. Everything was falling apart. His glorious mission, his place in history. all crumbling before these primitives. How? He whispered. How did you hide this level of technology from our observers? Blackburn shrugged. We didn't build it all at once or in plain sight. Compartmentalization, secretive development, hidden facilities. Plus, we figured your observers would focus on our public space program and military installations. So we built our real defenses elsewhere. Amazing what humans can accomplish when we think someone might be watching and judging. She took another sip from her container. Now, Commander, I'm a reasonable person. I understand you're just following orders. So I will give you one chance to retreat with what remains of your fleet. Otherwise, she gestured vaguely. Well, we have more of those quantum destabilizers, and our gunners are getting better at aiming them with each shot. Vrax felt the bitter taste of defeat in his mouth. This is not over, human. The Galactic Federation will not stand for this defiance. I certainly hope not, Blackburn replied. Standing is such a passive response. We are actually looking forward to a proper introduction. Your Federation sounds fascinating. We have so many questions. Another impact. The ship's artificial gravity wavered momentarily. Commander, Nix urged, we must retreat. We have lost 13 vessels already. We cannot win this engagement. Vrax wanted to argue, to push forward with the attack regardless of the cost. But he was a military commander, not a fanatic. With bitter resignation, he gave the order. All remaining vessels. Emergency jump to coordinates Alpha 7. Retreat. He glared at the human on the screen. This is merely a tactical withdrawal, Admiral. Your species has revealed its hand too early. The Supreme Council will not rest until humanity is brought to heel. Blackburn's expression remained maddeningly calm. Looking forward to meeting them, Commander. Safe travels. The transmission cut off. Vrax sat in stunned silence as his fleet limped away from the Earth system, abandoning their mission in humiliating defeat. 3 days later, in the Grand Chamber of the Galactic Federation Supreme Council on the capital world of Nexus Prime, Vrax stood before the assembled counselors, his posture rigid with shame and simmering anger. They were prepared for us, he concluded his report. Somehow, they knew we were coming. Or at least, they suspected that contact with a superior force was inevitable and prepared accordingly. High Counselor Ziv, an ancient Arcturian whose crystalline body had dulled with age, leaned forward. Commander Vrax, your expedition was meant to be a simple show of force, a reminder to a young species of their place in the galactic order. Instead, you have lost 13 warships and damaged our standing significantly. With respect, High Counselor Vrax countered, the intelligence on human technological capabilities was severely flawed. Our observers either missed crucial developments or were deliberately misled. Or, interjected Counselor Tura, a gaseous entity contained within an environmental suit, you underestimated them. A common mistake when dealing with humans, according to our historical records. Vrax bristled. I followed the Council's directives precisely. If there was an error, it was in the information provided to me. The Council chamber fell silent as the massive doors at the far end swung open. A Federation security officer hurried in, his expression grave. High Counselors, the officer announced, we have detected an unidentified vessel approaching Nexus Prime. It does not match any known configuration in our database. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. On screen, ordered High Counselor Ziv. The central holographic display activated, showing a sleek vessel of unfamiliar design approaching the planet. It was smaller than a Federation warship, but moved with remarkable speed and precision. We are receiving a transmission, the security officer reported. Let us hear it, Ziv commanded. The holographic display shifted to show Admiral Blackburn, the same human who had humiliated Vrax days earlier. She appeared to be standing on the bridge of the approaching vessel. Greetings, esteemed members of the Galactic Federation Supreme Council, Blackburn said, her tone as casual as before. I hope you don't mind us dropping by unannounced. We followed Commander Vrax's quantum wake signature. Fascinating technology you have there. We took some notes. Shocked silence fell over the council chamber. This is impossible, Vrax hissed. They couldn't have developed quantum wake tracking so quickly. Blackburn seemed to hear him. Oh, hello again, Commander Vrax. Thanks for the breadcrumbs. Made finding this place much easier than expected. She turned her attention back to the counselors. Now, I believe we have some diplomatic matters to discuss. Specifically, the unprovoked attack on Earth and the rather rude demands made by your representative. High Counselor Ziv recovered first. Oh, how did you reach Nexus Prime so quickly? Even with quantum wake tracking, you would need advanced, faster-than-light capabilities that your species does not possess. Doesn't possess. Blackburn raised an eyebrow. I'm literally standing on the bridge of a ship that just crossed 17 light years in 3 days. I think we can put that particular misconception to rest, don't you? The implications hung in the air like a blade. Either humans had made an evolutionary leap in technology beyond anything the Federation had anticipated, or they had been concealing their true capabilities all along. Neither possibility boded well. What do you want? Counselor Terra asked cautiously. Blackburn's expression grew serious for the first time. What we want is simple. A seat at the table. Recognition of Earth as a sovereign power with all the rights and privileges that entails. And an apology for the unprovoked aggression against our planet would be nice too. Or, Ziv prompted. Or nothing. Blackburn replied with a shrug. We are not here to threaten you. That would be uncivilized. We are here to introduce ourselves properly and establish diplomatic relations. The fact that we were able to follow Commander Vrax across 17 light years and arrive at your doorstep should tell you everything you need to know about our capabilities and resolve. She smiled again, that same maddening smile that had haunted Vrax's nightmares for 3 days. So shall we talk? The Supreme Council Chamber of the Galactic Federation remained silent for several long moments as the counselors processed Admiral Blackburn's words. High Counselor Ziv's crystalline form pulsed with bands of color that indicated deep concern. This situation is unprecedented, Ziv finally said. No species has ever advanced so rapidly, nor concealed their progress so effectively. Blackburn nodded. We are good at keeping secrets when we need to, particularly when we suspect we are being watched. Vrax could no longer contain his outrage. This is absurd. They must have had outside help. Some rogue faction within the Federation must have provided them with advanced technology. The Admiral's gaze shifted to him, her expression one of amused pity. Still can't accept that we did this on our own, Commander? That's a shame. Your inability to recognize our potential is exactly why we are having this conversation. Counselor Terra's environmental suit hummed softly as she leaned forward. Admiral Blackburn, if what you say is true, why reveal yourselves now? Why not continue your technological development in secret? Good question, Blackburn replied, settling into what appeared to be a command chair. The answer is simple. We have reached a point where isolation no longer serves our interests. We're explorers by nature. We want to see what's out there, meet new species, exchange ideas. But we needed to ensure we'd be treated as equals, not pets or potential threats to be neutralized. She gestured toward Vrax. Your commander here inadvertently accelerated our timeline. We were planning a more diplomatic first contact in about 5 years. But when you showed up with warships while we adapted, High Counselor Ziv's colors stabilized into a contemplative blue pattern. You mentioned wanting a seat at the table. What exactly does humanity expect from the Galactic Federation? Full membership rights, Blackburn stated without hesitation. Access to Federation's star charts, scientific databases, trade networks. In exchange, we're prepared to share certain technological innovations that might interest you. Our quantum destabilization technology, for instance. Vrax hissed. You cannot seriously be considering this. These humans are dangerous. They have hidden their true nature for centuries. Who knows what other secrets they harbor? A new voice entered the conversation. That's rather hypocritical coming from you, Commander. All eyes turned to see a human male walking confidently into the council chamber. He was tall, with dark skin and close-cropped silver hair, wearing a simple black uniform with minimal insignia. Dr. Anton Petrov. He introduced himself with a slight bow. Earth Intelligence Division. We have been monitoring your observation posts for approximately 73 years. Fascinating technology, but rather conspicuous once you know what to look for. Vrax's mandibles clicked rapidly in agitation. How did you get in here? This chamber is secured. Petrov smiled pleasantly. Your security systems are quite good. We just happen to be better. He turned to address the council directly. While Admiral Blackburn handles the diplomatic aspects of our introduction, I thought you might appreciate some context regarding our seemingly rapid advancement. He produced a small device from his pocket and activated it. A holographic display materialized in the center of the chamber, showing Earth at various points in its history. Humanity has always progressed in fits and starts, Petrov explained. Periods of relative stagnation followed by explosive innovation. What your observers witnessed over the past few centuries was merely the latest such cycle, accelerated by certain motivational factors. The hologram shifted to show various alien observation posts orbiting Earth, their positions marked in red. We detected your first probes approximately 2 centuries ago, Petrov continued. Quite advanced compared to our technology at the time, but not infallible. Once we confirmed we weren't alone in the universe, our perspective changed dramatically. Counselor Terra's environmental suit rippled with curiosity. You unified your planet because of us? Petrov laughed. Not immediately, no. We continued our squabbles for quite some time. But the knowledge that we were being observed by potentially superior forces created a powerful incentive for cooperation. Nothing unites humans quite like an external factor. The hologram shifted again, showing the rapid acceleration of human technology over the past century. We maintained the appearance of a typical developmental curve, Petrov explained. Public space programs that progressed at an expected rate. Military technology that advanced logically from previous iterations, all while our actual capabilities developed along a very different trajectory. The final image showed a vast underground complex filled with technology that even some of the counselors found difficult to identify. Project Thunderbolt was just one of dozens of similar initiatives, Petrov said, each compartmentalized, each hidden from your observers. We reasoned that if you were watching us with such interest, there must be a reason. And history has taught us that when a technologically superior force shows interest in a developing civilization, the outcomes are rarely positive for the latter. High Counselor Ziv's crystalline form dimmed slightly. You expected hostility from us. We prepared for all possibilities, Petrov corrected, including peaceful contact. But we wanted that contact to occur on equal terms, not as supplicants or subjects. On the holographic display, Admiral Blackburn nodded, which brings us back to our proposal. Membership in your Federation as equals, with all the rights and responsibilities that entails. Vrax couldn't remain silent any longer. This is outrageous. They deceived us for centuries. They developed weapons specifically designed to counter our defenses, and now they demand to be treated as equals. Commander Vrax. High Counselor Ziv's tone carried a note of warning. You are here to report, not to dictate policy. With respect, High Counselor, Vrax pressed, these humans cannot be trusted. They're duplicitous by nature. Look at how they have manipulated this situation. Blackburn raised an eyebrow, says the representative of a civilization that's been secretly monitoring our planet for centuries, only to show up with a fleet of warships demanding our submission. She shook her head. If that's your definition of trustworthy behavior, I think we have very different dictionaries, Commander. Petrov cleared his throat. Perhaps a practical demonstration would help clarify our position and intentions. He tapped his device again, and the hologram changed to show a detailed map of the Nexus Prime planetary system. Your primary defense grid has 37 orbital platforms, he stated matter-of-factly, each equipped with phase plasma cannons and quantum shielding. The central control hub is located beneath the southern polar cap, with redundant systems at these 3 locations. Points of light pulsed on the map at his words. The council chamber erupted in alarmed murmurs. This was classified military information of the highest order. Additionally, Petrov continued calmly, your fleet currently has 117 warships deployed across 23 sectors, with another 42 in various stages of construction or repair. Your primary shipyards are located in the Deneb system, with secondary facilities at Procyon and Altair. He deactivated the hologram. We could continue, but I believe the point is made. We have been gathering intelligence on the Federation for decades, not because we intend hostility, but because knowledge is security. Had Commander Vrax not attacked Earth, this information would have remained quietly filed away in our archives. The silence that followed was profound. Even Vrax seemed temporarily stunned into silence. High Counselor Ziv finally spoke. You have made your position remarkably clear, Dr. Petrov. The Council will need time to discuss this development. Of course, Blackburn nodded. We will remain in orbit and await your decision. Our vessel, the Prometheus, will maintain position but take no hostile action unless provoked. As the transmission ended, chaos erupted in the council chamber. Voices raised in alarm, debate, and confusion. Through it all, Vrax stood rigid, his worst fears confirmed. These humans weren't just technologically advanced. They were dangerous in ways the Federation had never anticipated. Aboard the Prometheus, Admiral Blackburn leaned back in her chair as the transmission ended. Well, that was entertaining, she remarked to Petrov, who stood beside her. Did you see Vrax's face when you started listing their military assets? I thought his mandibles might fall off. Petrov chuckled. A calculated risk, but an effective demonstration. They needed to understand that we have been preparing for this moment for generations. Think they will accept our proposal? Asked Captain Josephine Torres from her station. Blackburn shrugged. They don't have much choice. We have made it clear we can defend ourselves, and we now have their attention. The smart play is to bring us into the fold rather than risk further confrontation. And if they don't make the smart play, Torres pressed. Then we implement Plan Omega, Blackburn replied calmly. But let's hope it doesn't come to that. I genuinely want peaceful relations with the Federation, just not on their original terms. Lieutenant Cato approached with a datapad. Admiral, we are detecting increased activity around Nexus Prime. Multiple vessels moving into defensive positions. Expected, Petrov noted. They are nervous. Maintain our position, Blackburn ordered. Defensive systems on standby only. No provocative actions. She turned to Petrov. How long do you think before they reach a decision? Their political structure suggests anywhere from hours to days, he replied. Though our presence will certainly accelerate their process. Blackburn nodded and stood. Good. In the meantime, let's prepare for both outcomes. Torres, you have the bridge. Dr. Petrov, walk with me. As they moved through the corridors of the Prometheus, crew members nodded respectfully. The ship, while appearing relatively small from the outside, contained technology that would have astonished even the most advanced Federation engineers. Do you think Vrax will attempt something foolish? Petrov asked as they entered a secured conference room. Blackburn considered the question. Possibly. His pride took a serious hit. But I'm more concerned about factions within the Council that might see us as a threat regardless of our stated intentions. Hence Plan Omega. Petrov nodded soberly. A contingency we hopefully won't need, Blackburn emphasized. Contrary to what they might believe, we are not looking for conflict. The door chimed, and Lieutenant Cato's voice came through the comm system. Admiral, we are receiving another transmission from the Council chamber. Blackburn and Petrov exchanged surprised glances. That was faster than expected, Petrov noted. Route it here, Blackburn ordered. The wall screen activated, showing the Council chamber once more. High Counselor Ziv occupied the central position, with other counselors arranged in a semicircle behind him. Vrax stood to one side, his posture rigid with barely contained anger. Admiral Blackburn, Ziv began, his crystalline form pulsing with calm blue light. The Council has reached a preliminary decision regarding your unprecedented request. That was efficient, Blackburn remarked. I am impressed. When faced with extraordinary circumstances, decisive action is required, Ziv replied. The Council has agreed, in principle, to open formal diplomatic relations with Earth. A delegation will be dispatched to your planet to begin negotiations regarding potential Federation membership. Vrax stepped forward. High Counselor, I must register my formal protest. This decision is premature and potentially catastrophic. Your protest is noted, Commander, Ziv responded coolly. However, the Council's decision stands. Furthermore, in light of your mission's disastrous outcome and your continued inability to accept the realities of our situation, you are hereby relieved of command of the 7th Conquest Fleet. Vrax's four eyes blinked rapidly in shock. This is an outrage. I acted under Council orders which were based on fundamentally flawed intelligence, Counselor Terra interjected. Intelligence you failed to verify before engaging in hostile action. Blackburn watched the exchange with quiet satisfaction. We accept your proposal of formal diplomatic relations, High Counselor. When can we expect your delegation? Preparations will begin immediately, Ziv replied. In the meantime, we request that your vessel withdraw to a position outside our defense perimeter as a show of good faith. A reasonable request, Blackburn agreed. We will adjust our position accordingly. As the transmission ended, Petrov raised an eyebrow. Well, that was unexpectedly reasonable of them. They are pragmatists, Blackburn observed. They recognize the situation for what it is. Better to integrate a potential rival than fight an unnecessary war. And Vrax, a convenient scapegoat, she said with a shrug. Politicians are the same throughout the galaxy, it seems. When things go wrong, find someone to blame. She tapped her communicator. Torres, adjust our position as agreed. Maintain defensive readiness, but stand down from alert status. She paused. And prepare a message to Earth Command. Tell them Phase 1 is complete. We're moving to Phase 2. In the Garden District of Nexus Prime's capital city, Commander Vrax, now stripped of rank and authority, sat alone on a bench, watching alien birds circle a decorative pond. 3 of his 4 eyes were fixed on the sky, where the human vessel was just visible as a bright point of light. May I join you? A voice asked. Vrax looked up to see Dr. Petrov, standing nearby, hands clasped behind his back. The human wore civilian clothing now, looking deceptively harmless. What do you want? Vrax asked bitterly. Come to gloat over your victory. Petrov sat without waiting for an invitation. Victory implies there were winners and losers. I prefer to think of this as a correction of course. Your Federation was heading toward conflict with Earth based on false assumptions. We have simply realigned expectations and ruined my career in the process, Vrax noted darkly. You did that yourself when you decided intimidation was the appropriate first contact protocol, Petrov replied, without sympathy. But that's not why I'm here. Then why? Because you are one of the few who truly understands what humanity represents, Petrov said. The Council has accepted our overtures because it's politically expedient, but they still don't fully grasp what they are dealing with. Vrax's mandibles clicked in bitter amusement. And you want me to what? Help him understand? Become an advocate for human integration into the Federation? Actually, yes, Petrov nodded. You have seen what we are capable of firsthand. You know we are not bluffing. That makes you valuable. To whom? To everyone who wants peace. Petrov gazed up at the sky. The Federation has maintained stability in this region of space for millennia. That's an achievement worthy of preservation. Humanity doesn't want to disrupt that stability. We want to enhance it. Vrax studied the human skeptically. Why should I believe you? Why should anyone? Because the alternative is unthinkable, Petrov replied simply. If the Federation decides we are too dangerous to accept, but not powerful enough to fear, they might try again to subjugate us. And that would end poorly for everyone. He stood, brushing invisible dust from his clothing. Think about it, Vrax. You have been made the villain in this story, but you could still be instrumental in writing its conclusion. He handed Vrax a small device. If you decide to help, use this to contact me. As Petrov walked away, Vrax turned the device over in his hands. He had never imagined his career would end like this. Disgraced, demoted, sitting in a garden contemplating alliance with the very species he'd tried to conquer. The irony was not lost on him. He had been sent to remind humans of their place in the galactic hierarchy. Instead, they had redefined that hierarchy entirely. And they had done it not with the overwhelming force the Federation would have used, but with preparation, intelligence, and a maddening confidence that bordered on amusement. Perhaps most galling of all, they hadn't even seemed surprised. As if this outcome had been anticipated all along. As if the mighty Galactic Federation, with its 3,000 years of peace and prosperity, had acted exactly as expected. Vrax gazed up at the point of light that was the Prometheus. These humans, with their strange mix of caution and audacity, their capacity for both suspicion and cooperation, were unlike any species the Federation had encountered before. And now they were here to stay. The galaxy would never be the same. And oddly enough, as he contemplated this new reality, Vrax found himself doing something he hadn't done in decades. He laughed. 6 months later, Earth hosted its first official Federation diplomatic delegation. The event was broadcast globally, with billions of humans watching as representatives from 17 alien species descended from their ships onto the grounds of the newly constructed Galactic Embassy complex in Geneva. Admiral Blackburn, now serving as Earth's first ambassador to the Federation, stood at the podium, her dress uniform gleaming in the sunlight. "Today marks the end of humanity's isolation," she declared, her voice carrying across the assembled crowd and to viewers worldwide. "But it also marks the end of an illusion, the illusion that we were ever truly alone in this universe, or that our development was solely our own achievement." She gestured toward the alien delegates. "For centuries, we prepared for this moment. We watched the Watchers. We learned. We anticipated, not out of fear or aggression, but out of a fundamental human desire to control our own destiny." Among the Federation representatives stood a familiar figure, Vrax, now serving as special advisor to the diplomatic corps. His mandibles clicked softly in what those who knew him would recognize as appreciation for the Admiral's candor. "The road that brought us here was unconventional," Blackburn continued. "It began with suspicion and nearly erupted into conflict, but it has led us to understanding and, hopefully, lasting cooperation." She smiled, that same confident smile that had so infuriated Vrax during their first encounter. Humanity has always thrived on challenges. The challenge of surviving on a sometimes harsh planet. The challenge of overcoming our own divisions. And now, the challenge of taking our place in a galactic community far older and more diverse than we ever imagined. From his position, Vrax observed the assembled humans. They showed none of the trepidation or awe that most species displayed upon first contact with the Federation. Instead, there was a palpable sense of satisfaction, as if they were finally stepping onto a stage they had long rehearsed for. As the ceremony concluded and the delegates moved toward the embassy building for private discussions, Vrax found himself walking alongside Dr. Petrov. "Your people seem remarkably calm about all this," Vrax noted. "Most species experience significant cultural shock upon joining the galactic community." Petrov nodded. "We have had generations to prepare psychologically. Our fiction, our education, our cultural development, all were subtly shaped by the knowledge that we weren't alone. By the time your ships appeared in our skies, the idea of alien life was so thoroughly integrated into our collective consciousness that the reality was almost anticlimactic. And yet you laughed when we threatened you," Vrax said, still puzzled by that reaction. "Ah, that." Petrov smiled. "Well, there's something uniquely human about finding humor in moments of crisis. When Admiral Blackburn laughed at your threats, she wasn't just expressing confidence in our defenses. She was engaging in a very human coping mechanism, finding absurdity in danger. Absurdity, the idea that a civilization would travel 17 light years to deliver an ultimatum without first ensuring they had the means to enforce it," Petrov explained. "From our perspective, that's like bringing a knife to a fusion reactor fight. It's so fundamentally miscalculated that it becomes funny." Vrax considered this. "Your species is strange, Petrov, so I have been told," the human replied amiably. "But effective, wouldn't you say?" As they entered the embassy building, Vrax couldn't help but wonder what the next century would bring with these bizarre, laughing primates, now part of the galactic community. One thing was certain: the 3,000 years of predictable peace the Federation had enjoyed were definitively over. And perhaps that wasn't entirely a bad thing.